Welcome to Pussy Power. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Pussy Power. Today we have Rheena Mae. She is a first generation Filipino immigrant to the United States, and she has built her first $1 million business in her 20s and is now the maker of Mae Mae Jewelry. She's had a felony, bankruptcy, foreclosure, and divorce all in the same freaking year. And at one point, she had the IRS and the FBI following her for 5 years of probation, and she felt like she wasn't really living much of a life at all. Now she has unlocked a special gift that allows her to deliver messages to people to free their hearts and their minds. Today, we talk about the gift of diversity, setbacks, listening to your intuition, and being fully present. Babe, thank you so much for coming on. Let's show them that big dick energy.
Hey, hi.
Awesome.
Happy to be here.
When we first met, it was like, oh my god, this girl has some like serious presence. Like you, like it seemed like a very like big dick energy, but also like it was very magnetizing, if that makes sense. Like
Totally.
what was that like? What was that energy? Like how like I couldn't describe it. It's both power and both like very something that just like magnetizes. How do you like show up like that?
Yeah, well, I'll give you an example of it. So right now I'm wearing a green faux fur mink coat with nothing underneath, with 3 crystal necklaces and a beanie. Literally, that's what I'm wearing, and showing up with my tiger socks today for this podcast. So I'm like an inner city school kid. I grew up in New York. I grew up in LA. I grew up in the city. But as I've gotten older, I'm like this feminine woman who loves to cook and open the curtains in the morning and like just let light shine in. So it's like the two of those have fused into this magical, I would call myself like a modern mystic, let's say. And I just have a lot of stuff to share with the world. So that's where it's all coming from.
So it's kind of like the modern mystic from the inner cities. Kind of like,
Yeah,
yo,
yeah.
I know exactly what goes on in the hood. You can talk shit, like you cannot bullshit me. But also like I'm this very like loving and sweet and caring woman. Because
Totally. I've been held up by gunpoint in my backyard because of growing up with gangs. And also I've received downloaded messages from spirit about your mom that wants to tell you some shit from the other side.
wow. That is not the most common combination. So when we were like talking, the literally I was not having like the best like time in a lot of things in my life, and I was just like, last year used to be so awesome, and I was like just on top. And hearing that you had like a felony and divorce and all these things going for you like in 1 year, just literally like lifted weight off my chest, and I was like, oh shit, I have so much to be grateful for. This girl has been through shit. So how did that kind of like year unfold? Like walk us through that.
Yeah, so I had a business in my 20s, a very, very successful mortgage company. And I did some things that were illegal back in the time. And it's my mistake. I got caught. And so guess what? I was facing 4 years up to being like in federal prison. I was like, oh my God, my mom and my sister are literally like, okay, we'll visit you in this jail and we'll fly out for this jail. It was the craziest thing. And so while all that is happening, you can only imagine your marriage is falling apart because you are falling apart and like not knowing what to do. So we didn't lean on each other, and that fell apart. That whole time is happening, you have no more money. You're between lawyers and everything, you have no money. So you have to file for bankruptcy. And then because you have no money, you have no home. So like, dude, I had to file for foreclosure also. I wasn't bringing any income, no nothing. So I was like, fuck it, I got to do it. So that year of my life happened. And honestly, all I could think about was just breathe. put my head above water and just breathe and just tread and tread and tread. Because this is what I know for sure. Everything is going to change through time, right? Like, sure, you're getting divorced today and it may seem like the worst thing ever, but 30 days from now, you're going to feel better. 60 days from now, you're going to feel even better. 120 days from now, things are going to be so different. So why am I holding on to one moment that makes me feel like shit when I know that this is going to change soon? So let's just get over it.
I love what you just said about that, because it's kind of like you're still present to, okay, this is what's going on, but also you know that it's not gonna be forever. It's kind of like the this too shall pass mentality. So what were the emotions that were like flooding through your body and your mind during those times? Like, how was it for you emotionally?
So emotionally, I was a wreck because I held everything on the inside, because I'm that gangster daughter that does not go to jail, that doesn't lose all her money, that's very successful. And all of a sudden I'm having to call my mom and dad and say, hey, look, can you write a letter to the judge that your daughter's a good person and she doesn't deserve to go to jail? Like, hey mom, the FBI knocked on my door today, I may be in trouble. Like, that is like the most damning thing. So instead of being like kawawa, or like in Tagalog, that means like sad or like pitiful and lonely, I was just like, we're going to handle this, mom. We're going to take care of it. We're going to take care of it. We're going to take care of it. And so I hid all my feelings. So because I was emotionally constipated and couldn't tell anybody anything, guess what happened? She happened. The gift of Mae Mae. I literally, so long story short, I didn't end up going to jail. I got 3 years of federal probation, where you can't leave your house basically, or you can't leave your county for unless you get permission. But I had all of these emotions. So I said, fuck it. I'm going to make a company where I can let go of all of these emotions. So I built Mae Mae. You know, my first necklaces were, everything happens for a reason. Everything's going to be okay. This too shall pass. Just breathe.
I love it. It's like everything that you wanted to hear. So do you think that, because I definitely resonate with that kind of like emotional constipation and like just bottling things up on the inside. Like for me, I don't know if it's the same for you. It's like upholding the image other people have of you, that like she's successful, like of course she has this, and it's kind of like that image that I wanted to show my family, show my mom, to make sure they don't get worried about me, to make sure that I don't show them that I fell from grace, from her high horse. For me, it's a lot of pride that keeps me from being open and vulnerable with my family. What was it like for you?
Yes, it's the shame factor, especially if you grew up Filipino. It's the shame factor. Okay. And we don't talk about it, but it's the shame factor. Since you're young, you're judged on how like mataba you are, how fat you are, how much you eat, what you look like, how light skinned you are. That was real in our culture. That was prevailing. So when you break out, you're like, dude, I went to good college. I have a good job. I'm making all this money. Like, we made it. Like my parents came to America so their children could thrive, right? So it's like, how do you say, oh, we're not going to make it. You might go to jail and all these things. You know what I say now in my family? I'm the crazy one in my family. Like, I dance in my bathing suit, like almost looking naked on my social. And my aunts, they talk to my dad and they say, tell her to take that shit down.
Oh my God,
like,
you and I.
She's embarrassing us. And I'm like, what about my gorgeous, beautiful body embarrasses you? Tell me. Tell me, what about my bright spirit that's just quirky and fun and funky bothers you?
Totally.
Does that make sense? So it's like, once I got rid of the shame factor, so what I had to do first was dump all of my feelings. It took me 6 years to get rid of the shame factor. Okay. I dumped all of my feelings. And then there I stood butt naked practically in front of my family saying, there's no mistake I can make. That's odd. Okay. This is just one life. Let's just go for it.
So with that experience of, not being able to talk to your family or feeling like you can't really open up to them, because you'll be shamed. I mean, I like just like you, you know, like I've done some shit that, you know, like the aunts would tell my dad, like, what the fuck is she doing? She's fucking embarrassing me. And my dad would tell me, remove your last name off of Facebook. You're not allowed to use that anymore. And I'm like, what the fuck? And like,
Right?
how did you process through that shame in a way that you were able to cope with it no matter what anyone said about your craziness? Like, what was the
You
process?
know, it took a second. I was really sad. I was really sad. And then my sadness turned into anger. And then my anger turned into, okay, no, I don't like, I want to live my own life. Like I look at their lives and I'm like, I don't want to live your life. Your life is frankly boring to me. Okay. So I want to live my crazy, laugh out loud, like wear costumes, just do it all and be just be unforgiving about it because shoot, it's like when you think about it, my dad called me last year and he said, Mae, you're turning 42 this year. He said, before you blink your eyes, you're going to be 68. So you better watch out and you better enjoy it. And you better believe you're good enough for everything. And I said, holy cow, Dad. He said, if I were to tell my younger self anything, the message would be, you're good enough. That's powerful, girl. He is literally telling me to tell my little 42-year-old body now that my 68-year-old body is saying you're good enough. So no matter how much money I have, how many children I have, how many husbands I have, like you're good enough for it all. And let me just side caveat this, okay? It's like if marriage is this covenant per the religion, right? Whatever religion you think. I'm not getting married because of religion. I'm getting married because I love my partner so much in 3 weeks. But
oh
if
my
I
God,
get,
congratulations.
I know, but if I get divorced and get married a third time, that's awesome too. Or if I get divorced again and get married a fourth time, that's amazing also. Why does there have to only be one image of what marriage is because your religion says it's bad if we lose it, right? So in my lifetime, I could have 2 marriages, I could have 17 marriages. It doesn't matter. But it's my rules now. It's not the rules that everybody else thinks. Everyone has their own set of rules and God bless them if you want to follow them, but I also have my own, so respect my own rules.
Yeah, it's really like I love that your dad like was the one who told you that. For a lot of us, we don't get that message from our parents. Like we know, like
Totally.
we get the complete opposite. And with your dad, you know, telling you that you're good enough, I think there's also the reason why we are suffering so much, and maybe also why a lot of our energy is spent on, you know, the wrong things, is because we like expend so much in trying to show the world how good enough we are and where we go. And I'm guilty about this, like, oh, just show them that, you know, you're fucking you're good to go, you have it all together. And then on the back end it's like, oh shit, like all these other things that I need to clear and I need to process. But when I show the world who I am, it has to be like I'm PRing myself and show them the best version of me. And this is just my theory, but I feel like, you know, the older you get, the less like that tendency goes. But I'm also like, why do I have to wait until I'm 50 to be really fucking finally comfortable in my own skin? So what I'm like wondering about is, when like, what was how did it happen for you where you're just like, okay, I'm good enough, I'm gonna show the world who I am? Because that's not something that comes easy for, you know, most people.
Yeah, you know what happened? So 5 years ago, Spirit downloaded some crazy messages into my body. Like I literally can feel people and I know what they're thinking. I know what they need to hear. Or I literally, your grandma can come through me right now and I can talk to you and tell you all these things that your grandma wants you to hear. Like, so when I got this, what I call superpower, girl, like forget the felony, forget the bankruptcy, forget the divorce, forget all of that. I was like, why do I know these things about people? It's crazy. I'm like, oh my God, why do I know? What do I know? So forget all that other stuff. This is the craziest thing, because I've seen TV shows where people get in divorces and felonies. I never watched any TV show where someone can literally download someone's body into their body and then spit out messages. Like, that didn't exist for me. So when I got this gift 5 years ago, I was freaked out. And I literally had to go to my knees and pray, because I was going to go to the doctor and they were going to swear me crazy and put me on Prozac, like for real. And I was all like, oh my God, what is happening? So for 3 years, I didn't believe it. I was like, no, I'm just not going to go out this whole year. No, sure enough, walking into Mae Mae every day, like, it was like an exit through the gift shop. All of a sudden someone walked in. I'm like, okay, I know. Okay, you're here. Okay, your mom wants to talk to me. Okay, let's go. Bam, message, crying. I'm like, oh my God. I'll give you a perfect example. I was in Vegas this weekend and I had a reading with a lady. And the way I had the reading with her is one of her friends texted me, are you going to be in the store tomorrow? And I said, no, I'm not actually. And I said, okay, maybe next week. She says, okay. All of a sudden my ring finger started throbbing, like it hurt so bad. I texted her. I said, look, this is going to be weird, but can you call me? And she said, sure. So she called and I said, hey, is there something wrong with your relationship? And she goes, no, but the girl I was going to bring in tomorrow, the reason I'm bringing her is because she's on the brink of getting a divorce. And I was like, oh, I said, I'm not going to be there tomorrow, but can you FaceTime her and we can three-way right now? She goes, oh my God, are you willing to do that? They think I'm a magical unicorn. And like, if I offer to do this, they think it's crazy. So I was like, yeah, FaceTime her right now. So they FaceTimed her. And sure enough, I was like, girl, what's going on with you and your husband? And she's all like, oh my gosh, we were coming into Mae Mae because like literally I'm on the brink of getting a divorce and I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, I can feel you all in my body and this is the problem and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, holy fucking shit. And I was like, yep. And this is what you need to do. And this is how you need to do it. And this is how you can do it better. And she's all like, what the hell? And I was like, oh my God, from a finger throb. Yeah. And so I was in Vegas 2 days ago. My finger started throbbing again, the exact same pain. Bam, 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 bam. Guess who was trying to FaceTime me? Both of them at that exact same time. But I was in Vegas, so I enjoyed my life, you know?
Yeah.
So that happens to me every single day, everywhere I go now. So forget all my multi-million-dollar businesses, forget all of my everything. This is superpower is the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my whole life. And there's no amount of sex, there's no amount of highs that could ever like give you this experience of involvement in somebody's life.
That has been like super freaking crazy. I could imagine. What was it like? What do you think happened in those 5 years that allowed this gift to spontaneously emerge? Because you weren't like a 2-year-old toddler, you know, like
No.
covering over people and like, oh, your mom is like this and like that.
So I feel like I'm Harry Potter. And the last 5 years I went to Hogwarts. Harry Potter didn't know he had this gift until someone was all like, oh my God, you're Harry Potter, you know? So it's like all of a sudden I came into this magical world because I had just built Mae Mae, right? So I just had my store for a year and I created this magical world. And then all of a sudden the universe is all like, oh my God, here are your powers. You need to go to Hogwarts school. And for the next 5 years, we're going to train you on how to use your gift because the gift is so strong. You're going to freak out and we can't have you freak out because you're the message deliverer.
Wow. So how was it like in those 5 years? You weren't really allowed to go out unless you asked for permission. I mean, like, were there times that you thought you were gonna go crazy? How the fuck?
The first 2 or 3 years, I wouldn't go out by myself anywhere, not to no restaurant, not to no Target, not to nowhere. I would only go to my family's houses. That's it. Because those were safe spaces for me. But if I were to go to Target, my sister has to come with me and we have to be in and out in 10 minutes.
Why?
If I were to go to
like, was that a stipulation from the FBI?
No, because people's energy was on my body.
Oh, wow.
And so like I open portals. So people are trying to fly in and be like, oh my God, she's here. Let's fly in. Let's fly in. Let's fly in. Let's get her. And so I would feel so many things. So I didn't know if that was your mom over there on aisle 8 or if that was your dad on aisle 9 or if I didn't know what it was. So I was like, shit, I got to get out of here. And you can't
Wow.
ask every Target, like, excuse me. No.
Uh,
It was like gift was going crazy.
I'm wondering if that's like our natural state because I was able to feel that way when like the first time I was on acid. I was just like, holy fucking shit, this whole world is a fucking illusion. Like I was literally like seeing shapes and colors and kind of like, you know how like that thingy on the TV screen like starts to go haywire and like there's a
Yeah.
and I was like literally seeing the world that way. And I was at a bar for like New Year's, and people were just like dressed like in their best clothes, and there was this like rich Japanese guy on our left with all the girls around him, and instead of like judgment, I just felt compassion and understanding, and I just kind of like there was a download of like, oh, we're all just trying to meet our needs. So like this whole status thing is like fucking bullshit. But like that is not something that, I get to feel on a day-to-day basis. When yours started, developing, what was your first time like, and what were you doing then?
So I was in Mae Mae and someone came in. And immediately when she walked in, I felt weak. Like I had to sit down. I had so much pain, like in my ovary area. I was like, oh my God. But then I thought it was cramps. I was like, oh my God, my period's just about to start. So like, whatever. I didn't think anything of it. So I met with her like for maybe like 20 minutes, sold her some necklaces and like really great interaction. Then she left. The minute she left, 30 seconds in, I felt brand new and back to normal. I was like, oh my God. And then a light bulb hit and said, oh my God, there's something wrong with her ovaries. Like literally. But I didn't have this customer's name. I didn't know her. I didn't know anything. I don't have her like information. But check this out. 2 weeks later, she called. And she called to say thank you. She didn't take her necklace off. She called, and I was like, girl, I have something weird to tell you. And this is what I felt when you were in my store. And she said, no fucking way. In 2 hours, I'm about to get a call from my gynecologist because something is wrong with my right ovary. I said, oh my gosh, I was tripping balls, but also I was like, oh, this could be coincidence. This could totally be coincidence. Kept happening every week, girl, over and over and over and over. So after 3 years, I was like, this can't be coincidence anymore. Like, this can't. You have to know things. And sure enough, here I am. And I do know things. I know a lot of things.
So wait, I'm kind of confused about like the timeline. Was Mae Mae built during the 5-year probation period, or was it after that?
So Mae Mae's a 10-year-old baby already. So for the
Wow.
first 5 years was the probationary period, had to hide my money, like couldn't be a real company, like was wondering. And then 5 years ago, which is 2016 to now, right? Mae Mae's been like a real company where I incorporated. The FBI is not following me anymore. Like I could have real money and be a real
Yeah.
person and not have to report to the government anymore.
Mm. Wow.
So,
Was it
so yeah.
was it because
Sorry.
your asset, I'm like trying to understand your scenario way back and how hard you had it. Was it like your assets were tied to like Rena May, and that's why you like the I don't know, thingies, the obligations of the business were your obligations too? That's why you couldn't really make money on your own or let the government know that you were making money?
Girl, I have no idea. I'm just a hustler. And I just thought, oh my God, I just got burned for money laundering right now. I'm going to make cash money and not have to worry about this shit. Okay. Because I got serious offenses on me. Like,
Mm.
I was so scared to make $1 at some
Wow.
point. I was like, oh my God. So I was that girl where, remember, you don't remember, but back you used to sell CDs out of the trunk of your car if you were a new artist, right? You sold CDs out of the trunk of your car. So I have that hustle mentality. So I would make bracelets and necklaces and sell them out of the trunk of my car. And you
Wow.
literally would make cash. Like I was a
Wow.
big time hustler. If you were on your way home from work, girl, I'd be like, hey, stop by. I'd lay out all my jewels on the top of my trunk and you'd probably buy something because you felt so bad for me. I did that for 5 years, hustled my ass off. made a dope ass living, okay? Saved enough money to open the coolest freaking store in all of Los Angeles. And that's when God said, look, let me give you some of the sugar, babe. Here you go. You've done your penance. You've done your time. You've hustled. I know, you know what it's like. Now let's go serve the people with all that magic.
Holy fucking shit. 5 years, like, you must have had some sort of serious drive to keep you going there.
Yeah, I had to eat and I had to keep shelter over my head. Who's providing for me? Remember, I got divorced. We have no money.
Yeah.
I have no money. I have nothing. And I'm not asking my mom and my family for money. No. I'm too dope for that shit. No.
Yeah.
So see, this mink baby was bought all on my own.
Wow. So this like when you let's touch back on your marriage for a sec there, or at least your I think you're divorced now, right? So your marriage with your previous husband, and you mentioned that you couldn't really lean on him either. What was it about, that relationship that didn't really serve you anymore, and in what way did it feel like it wasn't for you anymore, like it wasn't serving you anymore?
So at some point with two people, especially when you're in your 20s and early 30s, you start going through a past regression of like how you were raised, and all of your mommy and daddy issues come up. Okay. All of this like turmoil in your 20s and 30s happen, and sometimes people into their 40s and 50s, but mostly through their 20s and 30s. So you realize the type of relationship you had with your mom and your dad and how is dysfunction, all these things. I started realizing that for myself, and so did my ex-husband. Okay, so two young 20-year-olds trying to navigate all of that, it just didn't work out. It's like he had too much baggage to work on. I had too much baggage to work on. And together, we couldn't fix it being together. It was too much. So in our relationship, we didn't become a safe space anymore for each other because we were both processing so much. You can't even be there for somebody if you're just barely trying to be there for yourself. And that's the truth. And when you're in those ripe young 20, like those 20 ages, of making it try and work, it doesn't work. And I'm not trying to force it. And I knew it was over. Like I was ready for it to be done because I needed to go on to my second marriage, obviously.
Wow. That your whole journey is like a journey of death, like being born and like being told you're like meant to like be successful. We did all this for you. Of course, we're in the US, like live the American dream, you're gonna go make it, to kind of like a journey of death and rebirth and reinventing yourself. And a lot of people really go through a long ass process because they're so attached to their old identity. So you had this mortgage company, and now you're doing Mae Mae. What was it like between the transition phases of, oh shit, I used to have like a multi-million-dollar business, and now fuck, like what am I doing with my life? Like I have like everything is going against me. What was it like in that transition period for you? Because a lot of people, and might be speaking for myself here too, like that's one of the points where you really feel like you lost yourself there, because you're trying to find like that person that you're gonna become, but also you're still attached to your past achievements, to your past successes, to the pride that came with that identity.
Yes. So what I did was, okay, that old identity of Rheena Mae, of who she was and that success, versus this new identity. You know, one thing I know, girl, you know what we all just want? We just all want peace. That is the truth. In our lives, we want to be peaceful, whether we're going to climb the moon, but that just makes us peaceful, or whether we're going to, feed our children today, and that just makes us peaceful. So I just thought about, I was like, look, forget all the money, forget all the things, forget all the love, forget all of everything. What does everyone strive for? And everyone strives for peace. I said, so, okay, if I have this, no, as long as you have peace, whatever peace produces in your life, then take those. If peace produces cancer, welcome it. If peace produces the next kombucha company, welcome it. If peace produces the next balloon company, welcome it. So the difference now between the way I create is I create from a place of peace and it pours over me, versus before I was trying to get to peace. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So all I do is check in with myself. Am I peaceful? Yes. And today all I'm going to do is drink water that makes me peaceful. Yes. Boom, whatever pours out of me. So I start my days at peace now and trust that whatever pours out of it is perfectly what I was supposed to get.
That is super interesting because I feel like, this whole like non-resistance thing, like be peaceful, like, everything's gonna come to you easily, just trust in the universe, trust in the divine. And this world of like really being able to hustle and, going for the goal, like they seem very like polarizing, almost like they're in different
Yeah.
spectrums. And you just seem like you I don't know, like you combine it together, like you have some secret recipe.
Totally. All I tell the universe is how I want to feel. And every day it's the same thing. Universe, I want to feel at peace. So, okay, what's going to bring you peace today? Well, just knowing that my girls at work are happy and that they live good. Oh my gosh. Guess what? Mae Mae's growing. Girl, we are going to be all over the world. Like, you're not even going to know what you'll be like, oh my God, remember when I one time did the podcast? No, like, we are growing. We're about to do a full remodel on the store. We're about to hire a full team for our online presence. We are about to freaking show off. And guess how many hours a week I work now? Maybe 10.
Wow.
Or I used to work 60. Now I work
Wow.
maybe, okay? And we're growing. Last year was our biggest year we've ever had in 10 years during a pandemic.
Jesus Christ.
Because all I told the universe is I want peace, and whatever joy this shoots out, let it land where it lands. You know where it landed last week? With someone breaking our window and shattering our full glass. You know where it brought the week before that? Me channeling a mom in my body and giving her daughter a message that she feels great, changing her whole life. Do you see what peace brings? Peace.
How is it? How do you yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
How do you like, so somebody breaks your window, how do you not go into like bridezilla mode about that, and still, because yes, we can choose our emotions on a daily basis. We ask for peace. Yes, we can choose to feel peace when somebody says like fuck shit all about us. Like we don't need to we can choose whether or not we get offended or not, but that all of that is much easier said than done. How do you like stay in that state of like being present and choosing peace when everything else around you seems like it's falling apart?
That's my priority. The only reason peace finds me every day is because I make it a priority. That's the only thing I care about every day.
Wow.
Some people care about what they're going to eat or what vacation they're going to go to or how much money they're going to make. You know, all I care about, where's my peace meter? That's it.
I love how you said that you're just asking the universe for what you feel, because like literally 99.9% of the world right now thinks that they want to be an influencer because they're gonna feel X when they become that, or like when I'm this, or when I get to this, or when I have this, or when I'm with this person, then I will feel X. And it's sort of like when you said you were trying to get to peace, that's like how most of us are operating in this
That's
world.
99% of the world for sure. You know what my favorite peaceful moment of the day is? I wake up and I open all the blinds in my house. I say good morning to all of my plants and I kiss my fiance on the cheek and I say good morning. That is my greatest gift of the day that I am so grateful and appreciative that I have lived for many, many years already. Like, that's it. Peace. It's like going to the gym. You know, people say, well, how do you have a nice body? You've got to focus on it. You've got to eat right. You've got to exercise. That's how you get a freaking six pack. It's not rocket science. It's really just science, right?
Mm.
So it works the same way. You want to focus on a better body? Great. Use all your energy on that. You want to focus on peace? Use all your energy on that. And you cannot not have peace.
Mm. How were you always like this, where like I'm just gonna choose peace, even when you like your whole life seemed like it was falling apart and you were transitioning
Hell
into this?
no.
Okay,
No.
so
I
what
was a
happened there?
brat. I was like dying inside. I was crying every day. I was the worst. I was like crying, sad, mad, angry. I was all of those things. I mean, I was never like someone that was like really big into screaming or yelling, but I was all of those things. It's funny. So just recently, me and my fiance were talking about having children. So I bought one of those like ovulation kits. So I was like, sweet. So I was doing it. I was doing it. I was doing it. I was like, oh my God, babe, today is the day we're ovulating. So we didn't have sex that night. And then the next morning, I was like, why didn't we have sex last night? This was like the peak time. In the morning, I said, holy shit, I don't want a baby.
Oh, wow.
Like it came out of nowhere. So I was so nervous to have the conversation with my fiance to say, so I did. I woke him up and I said, hey, I have something to tell you. And he's all like, okay, what? Do you want to have sex or what's going on? I said, I don't want to have a baby. How do you feel about that? And he said, to be honest, we're older now. And I said, I know this is the first time in my life I've ever had peace. And I said, and I love this space. So is it okay that we don't have a baby in this lifetime? And he's all like, I'm with you, girl. I'm with you. So we have consciously decided not to purposefully, like with ovulation kit, if it happened, it happened. But ovulation kit kind of deal, like have a baby. Like I am so good to not have a baby. Because honestly, girl, if I could just live this next 40 years in peace, God bless my heart. I've lived 40 years not in peace. I want to live 40 years in peace. Okay.
I don't get how that works though. It's like, so you have an ovulation kit, because and what we've kind of like been indoctrinated into is like, it's so funny because literally I tell my mom, you know what, I think I'm gonna get ligated at 25, not sure I really want to be a mom, not sure I want to have kids. And she's
Yeah.
like, you're fucking out of your mind. So here in the Philippines, I don't know if it's the same in the US, they say that when you're like over 35, it's not really possible to have a baby. So like, does the ovulation kit work the same? Because the only other method that I know of is like IVF. Or is it
No,
IVF?
the ovulation kit. So there are only 3 days a month that you can have a baby. Okay. That's science. There's
Mm.
only 3 days. It's really only a day and a half window where your egg is fertile and it could be whatever. A lot of people have babies on one night stands because that's when the woman is the most horniest. So you can get her to say yes 50 times percent faster because she's horny, because she's ovulating. So that's why a lot of babies are happening like that, right? But an ovulation kit literally tells you this is the time your body's temperature is at the perfect thing. Your egg is dropped. Go for it. It's science.
Wow.
No, you could have a baby until like you're ready to go menopause. I mean, it maybe not be easier, but like all of
Yeah.
my friends right in their 40s, all they're having their first babies and stuff. I'm like, gosh.
I love how you were able to like just have that conversation with your partner.
Oh
And
yeah.
like that must have been like, I can just imagine you, especially you guys are like fucking engaged. You're like, fuck, we agreed that we'd have kids, and now she's shit. Like I feel like I don't really want a baby. So like when you have those like intuitive hits, it's not always gonna make sense, because like there are times that I thought I wanted something, and then all of a sudden like I figure out that I don't really want it. So I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like it doesn't make sense to me. So how do you let yourself get guided by your intuition without getting lost in all that seemingly chaotic hits from it.
Okay. Big things, big ideas. I have a lot of those, but they have to be lasting. If I keep thinking about it for more than 90 days, I do it. Like
Wow.
when I talk about things, I talk about things like that will really change my life. So like getting a business partner, that took me a long time to get, because that like will change my whole life to get a business partner. And I'll give you something small. So this year for my birthday, I said, oh my God, I'm going to microblade my eyebrows. Cause it's the one thing, if you did, it was great. I'm going to tattoo. So so 90 days before my birthday, I said, okay, if I still think about this till after my birthday, I'm going to get it done. After 2 weeks, I was stopped thinking about it. I didn't care. I didn't want it anymore.
Oh, wow.
So some things are fleeting, but there are a lot of small things that I definitely jump on when it comes to intuition on a daily basis. I have a business and I have a household I run, so I make decisions all day long.
How do you
And
differentiate?
like for me, like decisions in the household is like things that won't really make a big impact. Like if I'm going to spend $1,000 on something, yeah, I've got to think about it. I've got to consult and we've got to figure it out. But like if I'm going to buy things for my business, like a new Cricut or a new printer or something like that, I don't think about it. I just go for it.
No, I mean, how do you differentiate the 90-day period of waiting versus, okay, I'm going to jump on it? Is there like a sensation in your body? And by the way, like just like a freaking segue before you answer that question. Like before, so like context for those who are listening, when we first met, Rheena told me that there was blockage in my root chakra. And I was like, okay, I accept that. There, you know, my boyfriend literally just told me last night that the first time we met, it's like I had a stick up my ass.
I love you.
So I was like, okay, fine. I get that. Sometimes I'm a little uptight, and there are times when, you know, I don't really feel as safe as much. And so a few weeks ago, we went to this karaoke place to just sing. And for me, I couldn't belt out like the highest songs, like Because of You by like Kelly Clarkson, if I don't feel safe. And so I'm like, okay, I did what you told me, which is like relax your vagina area. And I was like, I sang that song like seamlessly, and I'm like, oh, cool, this works. So like there definitely is, you know, that sensation in our body when something feels right to do, and like there are just changes there. But going back to your intuition, how do you know when to jump on something versus when to wait on it?
Okay, so I do a process. There are 4 places in your body that when you relax, the spirit can download into you so fast. It's your feet, your hands, your belly, and your jaw. I'm going to repeat that again. It's your feet, your hands, your belly, your jaw. When they are at utmost relaxative state, then you ask the question, universe, do I blah, blah, blah. And they will answer you 1000% of the time with an answer that is clear and honest. So you have to wiggle your feet to get it to be perfectly no tension at all. The goal is no tension in those 4 parts of your body. Once you do that, you've literally opened up the cranial area of your brain, the root, and where it like really will fall down all the way into your root chakra, and you'll feel it like it's just a yes. It's just a yes.
Wow. Are those for like yes or no questions, or are they good for like open-ended questions too?
No, they're good. They're good for everything.
24/7.
24/7. And you have to breathe in and out through your nose.
Okay, I'm taking notes of that.
That's the magic. Breathing in and out through your nose is the most powerful.
What I love about talking to you is you're not just some sort of like, you know, 40 guru that says just like namaste this shit like namaste your way out of life and like just meditate and do fuck all, you actually are a hustler, or you were a hustler. You worked 60 hours a week just to get things off the ground, and now you it's like you combine these seemingly different things together. So what I want to know, and coming from you more, is how do you stay present and choose peace and prioritize that when you have bills to pay, when the credit card payments are up, and when you know your creditors are calling you because you haven't paid your debts for like a few months now. Like sure, like for a lot of people it's like easy, you know, to say, oh, just like, you know, namaste the shit and like just be in that 40, just choose to be present. But when you have things that like scare the living shit out of you, it's easier said than done. So
Totally.
what can you say about that?
So what I would say about that is I'm a hustler, so I take action, right?
Mm.
If I have credit card debt that I don't like, I gotta take action every day. But this is the difference between me and most people. I only allow Rena Mae to take the actions that she could take today. And I trust that
Mm.
Rena Mae of tomorrow is way smarter than me, and she can handle those problems tomorrow. So, like, let's say you have a bill that needs to be paid and you don't have the $5,000 that it takes, right? You have to think about where to get that money or how to get that money and stuff, right? So, the Rena of today is going to send emails, is going to make phone calls, is going to do all the things that she can to try and bring in that money and let it go, not
Mm.
worrying about the result. The Rena of tomorrow can worry about the email response of I can give you money or I can't give you money or this is what I need. What I practice is presence. What can I do today that will make an impact on resolving this issue so I feel at peace again?
Mm. So
Does
it's
that make sense?
like everything that you do is so that you get yourself back on your priority, which is peace.
Exactly. So I'll give you an example. My window broke at 11 p.m. at night. The police were called. I had to go to my store to get there, right? It's 11 p.m. I can't get a new glass. What's the only thing that Rena of today can do? Get emergency boarding service, call them, get 2 quotes, get them to come out right now at midnight on Glendale Boulevard to board up my window at midnight. Okay, got that done. So I trust that the Rena of tomorrow, because I'm not going to worry about this. She's going to call glass people. She's going to get quotes and she's going to get a new glass date in. But the only thing Rena of today is worried about or thinking about is how do I just get this covered so nobody just walks into my store? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I trust her and I keep trusting her and I keep trusting her.
I try to do that. Like I with the practice, I like when I'm freaking out, because there was a time, this is so funny. I think this is the first time actually talking about it on a podcast. Like there was like, so I had my old business, right? The agency. And I made some not so good business decisions there. Like when I burnt out, I just had my friend, you know, manage it for me. And this is the thing that I learned on Shark Tank. When a CEO, like, or when a founder thinks about hiring a CEO, most of the time it's because, you know, they're not passionate or they don't want the business anymore and they should probably just stop or sell the business or whatever. And so when that kind of all that fell apart, you know, some of my employees got mad at me and they were like threatening to file lawsuits against me. And I'm like, fuck, lawsuits at 22. How the fuck do I deal with this shit? And so I was like, okay, just, you know, trying to process things. And then I received an email from Department of Labor saying they want to mediate and whatever. And I was like, fuck, this is so fucking stressful. So like that moment, I have practices where I'm like, okay, I should meditate. I should, I don't know, journal, just breathe. But then the worry kind of like still finds its way up. So it's is
Okay,
it the
so
same for
there's
you?
another thing. You're also human.
Mm.
And inconveniences are always going to hit you. That's part of life. That's what you signed up for. So
Mm.
being peaceful, yeah, you're gonna get knocked out of your peace. You're gonna get knocked out. You know, if you hit me right now over the head, with a bat, like I'm gonna get knocked out. I'm gonna be sad. I'm gonna be angry. I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get knocked out of peace. You just have to let the pendulum swing back. So be angry, be worried, be all of that stuff. And be all of those things and let yourself feel those things unabashedly or non-judge. Don't judge yourself. But the pendulum will always swing back. Will it take one day? Will it take 1 hour, 1 week? It doesn't matter. But it will always swing back. So you're here, but you're a pendulum. You can get hit. You're not human. So yeah, do I get knocked out? Sure I do, but and you're also younger. So I've already been through so many experiences already. I've been sued. I've had a lawsuit. I've had employees like steal money from me. I've had all of that already happen. So if it happens again, I'm always like, but if something new happens, then I'm like, oh my God, this is uncharted territory. I don't know what's going on. So the pendulum will swing. But now I'm like, oh my God, another letter from the Department of Treasury. Great. You know, like I've been through those. You haven't been through that yet.
Oh wow, I love that context because sometimes I honestly forget that I'm still 22 with like the rate of growth. It's I think it's just like a lot faster these days. So everyone here who's watching on YouTube is like seeing the amazing Mae Mae Jewelry, and you've started Mae Mae without really the intention of like, I'm gonna build a super fucking successful jewelry store or a jewelry brand. Like you didn't start out without, you just like followed your intuitive hit when you had this like sort of feeling inside of you to make a necklace for your sister, right? That was the first time.
Totally. Yeah.
And what do you think like made Mae Mae so successful that you were able to really build it and build it and build it and grow it and not give up on it because business has up and downs for 10 fucking years?
Dude, my vulnerability is unparalleled. My vulnerability, and you think about all the companies you know, right? You don't have an emotional connection to most of them. You just don't. You just buy milk because you buy milk. You buy your iPad because you buy an iPad. Sure, you like Apple, but you don't have like that emotional connection. With Mae Mae, nah, boo. You've probably cried in Mae Mae before. You've probably cried giving a Mae Mae to somebody, or you've probably cried when we're on the phone together. There is something about her that is so vulnerable and so magical. And like, I've never met a company that really accepts you for where you are when you look in the mirror and you hate seeing that naked body. We fucking love it. We love that naked body so much. We want to strip you down so you can see what we see. With that vulnerability, like how, I don't know any company that builds like this. So that's why I'm excited every day to keep building. Because if we can show people that sharing this level of vulnerability will only free yourself, God damn it, let's keep going.
Wow. That's not just from a place of like, I want to make money the way I made money before. It's
girl, I live very, very, very slim right now. Okay. I make just enough money to pay for my bills and do a few cute things a year. But do you know how much I get paid in love? Holy motherfucking shit. Like God gave me the best breasts, the best boobs, the best cooking abilities, the best planting abilities. I was like, what is money when I have all these other amazing abilities? Like, really?
wow. I love that because you're not like some broke person who's never had success and be like, oh fuck money, you know. You actually had that experience before where you had a lot of it, but
Oh, yeah.
seeing you be this excited about other things, it reminds me that, you know, money is just a means to get to the things we want in life, and the feelings, like it's actually the feelings that we want. And you having like, you've been through like, if like we're pendulums, right? And you're like literally been like that, like all over the fucking place. And so I think that's why you are in your center more. And when you do get knocked out, you come back to it and you prioritize it and you choose it. What practices do you have to help you stay grounded in your peace and stay
Choose
present?
a good partner. Choosing a good partner is not something, it's everything. Your partner is your number one energetic vibration frequency in your household. Okay. If they are not vibrating on a frequency that aligns to yours, you will always be static. You will always have anxiety, depression, doubt, worry 80% of the time, and you'll only have peace 20% of the time. Okay. So my suggestion is to choose a partner that you really, really can be yourself with. And that when you while out, they just look at you and say, oh my God, you're so cute right now. But when you get the pendulum back together, I'll come. Does that make sense? Where it
Yes.
doesn't scare them, it doesn't make you feel unsafe, and it doesn't make them feel unsafe.
That's a little bit tricky though, because for like, just like you said, a lot of people have mommy daddy issues. And, you know, a lot of people also make marital decisions to who they're going to
Yes.
spend the rest of their lives with in those moments where, you know, all their issues are like being brought up. And, you know, it's like so funny because my therapist says, like, you actually just marry your mother, you marry your father. So, like, with that said, choosing your partner is not just a walk in the park. Like a lot of people, they don't get to break that cycle of choosing, like that pattern of like choosing their mom or choosing their dad. So it's like that's really tricky.
You have to want to have peace. Peace has to be your number one thing. Most women, and I'm going to say this, when they get into a relationship, their number one thing is that they want a family, especially in their 20s. You meet someone because you eventually want a family with them. And do they want kids? Do they have enough money, or you guys have enough money that you can do? You guys think about those kind of things. That's like typically a 25 to 35-year-old person's mindset, right? It's different. It's different when you say, okay, I'm going to choose peace first. And whether peace means having 4 babies, or peace means having no babies, whether peace means having 3 marriages or no marriages. It's just different. And like, my thing about it is I'm at a point now, and you're right, I've made all of those decisions in the past. So now I'm sitting at a point where like peace is my number one thing. Like my fiance now says, well, what if I change it? I was like, yeah, bye, hello, bye. I didn't, we sign up for peace around this household. That's what we do for each other.
Wow. So how do you know it's the right one this time, or maybe not the right one, but like what made you decide to tie the knot a second time, or I don't know, a third time?
Yeah. So I grew up in the era of marriage. I think marriage is so fucking cute. I just do. I love,
Aw.
I love it. I think marriage is just so adorable, and having like a partner, like I never really understood why they said a best friend, right? Like marry your best friend. I was like, what does that even mean? No, it's true. We spend 24 hours together. I wake up and like we spend 2 hours in the bed together, just laughing and cracking each other up and smiling and tickling each other. It's so stupid and cute all at the same time. And I just thought about the years I just spent waking up by myself. I'm like, that was boring. This is way funner, like way funner, like having a partner to actually laugh with. Like, I'm like, no, like I'm down for this thing called marriage. I'm like down for like to have a husband and be cute and wear rings. And I'm also not tied to if it lasts forever. I don't care. Right now, it's so freaking cute. And that's my only barometer.
That's not super expected of you though, because you're like the black sheep and the crazy one, and probably like I didn't expect you to be like, oh, marriage is so cute, yay, yay, yay. That's
I'm
amazing
also the
that
only
you.
one on my second marriage too, though.
Wow. So
So,
is he Like, is this his first?
This is I'm like his first girlfriend, pretty much, almost. Like, first girl to really bring
I'm amazed.
home, like, just first everything. And most people would think of that as red flags. I was like, dope. He doesn't have emotional baggage with other women. Yes.
You won the
Yes. I
jackpot.
love that so much. That's so cool. And it just worked out. So we're getting married on 2/22/22.
Oh wow. 22222. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I love it.
Yep.
Rena, what would you say to like a younger version of yourself or
Yes.
someone who's just like going through the fucking shit all right now? Like, what would you say to that person?
I would say stop judging yourself. You are the only person judging, because the truth is nobody else fucking cares. Nobody. You are just the supporting role in everybody else's life, but in your life, you're the main star, right? You're the main character. So you keep worrying if your mom is going to be mad, your dad, your aunts. Who cares? They don't really care. You're this small in their world. That's just the truth. So stop judging yourself for anything that you do. Learn from your mistakes and then just keep moving. Keep it moving. You are the number one dream killer of your life because of that judgment. Truth.
I love it. I love what you just said there. And I think that mindset is what really allows you to be your most authentic self. Because now you're not just playing supporting role in somebody else's life and prioritizing that. You're prioritizing like the main character energy. And that can make all the difference between you thinking about what everyone else has to say and you really living your life, even though it means dancing around in your bikini and your
Yeah.
aunties saying you're crazy. I fucking love it. So for
Totally.
everyone who enjoy this podcast and they want to support Mae Mae Jewelry, they want to get crystals and necklaces and bracelets, where can they find you? Where can they find Mae Mae?
The best way to find me is on my website, maymajewelry.com. And then on Instagram, we have Mae Mae Jewelry, and you could watch me dance in my bathing suit on Instagram.
I love it. Rena, before I let you go, I want you to answer this question for us.
Yeah.
Rena Mae breaks the mold by
Not giving a fuck. Really, really, truly, like doing all the things that 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 14, 16, 20, 25-year-old Rena just wants to do. Like, they're literally all of my cheerleaders. Like, when I think about like every day you have a cheering squad, like little 8-year-old Rena is like the head cheerleader.
Wow.
She's like, oh my God, I love that idea. Yes. She had this crazy idea that Mae Mae start giving away balloons to everybody that say you make good decisions, and that everybody in Atwater is going to be walking around with the coolest fucking yellow balloon on their wrist that says you make good decisions.
Wow.
Guess what we're going to start doing now? Because 8-year-old Rena was cheering me on, and I thought that was so cool. Now the whole street is going to be littered with balloons and happiness because of us. Thank you. You're welcome, 8-year-old Rena.
I love it. I love how you're literally making friends with your inner self and letting their creativity shine through. Like you're just a little kid in like a 42-year-old's body, and I freaking love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. Like your energy.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Your energy has been freaking amazing. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope this encouraged you to just be your fucking self. And Rena, thank you for, affirming that I'm not the only crazy gal here. Not the only crazy Filipina. Thank you so much, Rena. And guys, once again, you can find everything about Mae Mae in the description. Check her out and check out Mae Mae Jewelry. Awesome.
Boom.
Thanks, Rena.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bye-bye.